Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today is going to be the follow-up to my previous PTB video discussing the unknown changes. And boy, let me tell you, after trying them, and now I was worried beforehand, I am more concerned now than ever. Now initially when reading the first patch notes that didn't tell us any of the numerical values for things, I wasn't too concerned when it came to the add-ons. I was, however, concerned about the speed nerfs that are completely unnecessary and unjustifiable as to the reasoning they gave, but after trying everything else out, oh boy, let's just get into it. So my first concerns when it came to the speed problems were going to be that the kit was going to be a little bit too clunky, it's going to be problematic for new players, just a lot of worries of that sort. Now getting to try it out firsthand, I immediately picked up on the first problem. If these changes actually go to live, they are going to be making this killer extremely ping dependent. So if you don't typically get the best connection possible, you're probably not going to have a fun time on this killer. This both includes spamming your power to place your hallucinations properly, as well as pre-pepping your shot around a corner. So if you have high ping, typically when you're trying to do any of these actions, most times you're going to immediately drop to that 4.0 speed right in the middle and lose all your momentum from your 4.6 you normally have. And just like in my previous video, I need to beg the question, how are people getting confused while in chase? Everyone that I've ever talked to about it, both in my streams, in my YouTube comment section, anywhere and everywhere I could possibly talk to anybody, not a single person ever has ever indicated any confusion between a killer doing a chicken pose while crouched forward and neck turned back versus the smallest little neck creak ever. Some have tried to argue upon the idea of that the audio may be confusing if people are just listening to audio, which also, if you shouldn't, you should be probably turning around and looking at the killer, because you do have to remove weakened after all. But I should also add, if you are only listening to audio cues, I think it's very safe to assume anyone that's doing so could learn the difference between a simple small neck creak that's like 0.7 seconds versus a whole-on gurgling sound. And yet, behavior is still pushing this supposed narrative, and in their words, saying people are forced to dodge. They're forced to dodge, and there's no speed penalty from people faking this. Yet if this was also supposedly their issue, let's just put it into a scenario that was the problem. Why can you still do it even after these changes? It's clunky, but you can still do it. If this is the problem and you're wanting to shadow nerf it and give some, false excuse, it just doesn't add up. And that's not even to mention on top of that, I rarely have ever seen unknowns even try to fake this in chase. I've never faked it in chase. Literally, and again, anyone I've ever talked to does not do this. It's not viable. You're just wasting time. If you shoot someone with your UVX and they are staring at you the entire time, by time after your 7-second cooldown of getting your follow-up shot back, that gives you a full 3-second window. Not even that, maybe even like 2 seconds after the whole charge-up animation for the shot comes through, for you to even land a follow-up. So why within that 3-second window would I ever sit there and just start spamming the power to see someone dodging? So it just leads me to this idea that if you're going to nerf this, if you're going to change this, if you're going to make it clunky, if you're going to just straight up ruin this part of the character, if it's because you have a problem with people placing hallucinations where they want, then just say it. You note that you know that it's possible, you made it possible, and you noted it in your notes. So why not just say, hey, we kind of messed up and really didn't want to do this. We want the hallucination spawns to be a little bit more random, or for it to be a little bit more costly for people to be able to do this. That would have been fine. It would have sucked, but it would have been fine. But why, again, why make up this whole narrative of something that's just not happening? But that's as much as I could rant on that particular part, because now we got to get into the add-ons. Initially, again, when we didn't have the values, I thought that these were going to be fine. This is okay, you know what? These are two of the most popular, most used, and accessible add-ons for all players of the unknown. So surely adding a little bit of blurry photo base kit is going to be great. They're not going to nerf it, it's just a bit of a change. You seeing the actual notes, and it just got nerfed by 40%. Currently on live, blurry photo gives you a 50% speed recovery rate, and now on the PTB, they've given us 15% of that onto our base kit, and made the add-on 15%. Where's the other 20% gone, behavior? At least with rat liver on Demogorgon, you know, you can at least put rat liver on and restore it to its former glory. But what happened to this 20%, and why is it not listed as a nerf? And if you think that sounds bad, wait till I tell you about Vanishing Box. When I initially saw that they were going to be nerfing it, I was fine with this. I was all here for it. I think, hey, you know, it's unanimously agreed upon, this is strong. So, you know, like, if we're going to be toning it down just a little bit with a little bit of a downside, sure, that's fine. What do you got for us? Oh, it says here that you want to add a little bit of time extra to hallucination spawns. Oh, okay, well, surely that 45-second timer could only been like, what, maybe a minute at most, or 55 seconds, just one UVX shot extra? Oh, you're nerfing it by 80%. Okay, cool. So 80% of 45 is only 36 extra seconds. Yeah, 81-second cooldown? Yeah, sure. That seems balanced and definitely won't be problematic. Oh, you mean that players are struggling to even spawn hallucinations, let alone keep more than 1 to 2 in a map? Oh. Of course, sarcasm and jokes aside with this, it is genuinely overdoing it. 80% is massive for an add-on nerf. Like, it's so bad to the point that you're gonna be doing way better if you don't even use this add-on anymore. The only reason its popularity is so strong is because of just the general strength it has now. Does it need to be toned down a little? Sure, that's fine. Does it need to be toned down 80%? Oh, hell no. If you want to nerf this add-on so bad, why not give it a similar downside to Captured by the Dark, where it simply removes one of your maximum amount of hallucinations on the map? I played multiple games while using the Vanishing Box to see just how many average hallucinations I could keep throughout the game, and after going through and reviewing all of them, most of the time I only managed to keep up 2, maybe 3 if I was lucky for a brief moment. Through 90% of the game, I was only ever able to keep up 4 hallucinations by the time 2 people were dead. And that was just from me spawning them, that wasn't even from people even dispelling them that often. And then analyzing through my games where I didn't have Vanishing Box equipped, and the entire match I was constantly cycling between having 4, very rarely even 3, but genuinely just a full map's pressure while people were even trying to dispel, because I'm just sitting there constant creating new ones over and over because I'm hitting my shots. Again, in my Vanishing Box games, I was hitting similar amounts of shots, but because the cooldown was just so long, I could barely get my hallucinations on the board. And for your average player, or those even starting out on this killer, how are they going to be expected to even want to try this add-on if they can't even use half the killer's kit, because they can't even spawn half of them most of the game? The main reason that this add-on is so popularly used is not even just because of its power, but at least 70% of our add-ons aren't even really that useful. They made these changes to the add-ons because of their popularity, but also because they wanted some more variety. But if you're going to want people to have more variety, make it worthwhile to do different options. I always do try to mix it up a lot every once in a while when I can, but even then, like, there isn't that many more that I really like a lot compared to a couple of those. These 2 add-ons are usually the ones I recommend brand new players to use to kind of get comfortable and used to the killer at first, and then once you're kind of ready to take the training wheels off, then, you know, mix it up a little bit. Definitely use these other 2, but, you know, mix them around with other ones. B-movie poster's a great option. Again, Captured by the Dark is absolutely amazing. OSS report is absolutely amazing. Footprint cast rewards you for hitting constant shots. It's like, there's options, but there's not a lot. There's not a lot for the yellow options. There's really no other brown add-ons that are really that great. Most of the purple options really aren't that good either. Like, some of them are just kind of pointless or just don't really help you a lot. The main point is, while there are some other good options, the reason these 2 are so popular is just they're the most reliable ones. Well, in the case of these changes actually going live, they were some of the most reliable anyway. And then we have the UI changes that I want to briefly touch on as well. Instead of having just one power icon like most killers usually do, behavior said, why not make it 4? So going from left to right, our left side shows when we have our UVX shot cooldown ready. Our second to the left is our same icon that you guys would probably recognize. All this does is literally tell you, hey, by the way, you now have charged up your shot. You can left click whenever you're ready. because, you know, the audio cues among the animation right on your screen apparently wasn't even enough to tell you. And then we have the teleport cooldown, which, you know, is 25 seconds base kit-wise, 20 seconds with OSS report, but again, apparently we needed to have a cooldown of that on our screen because people weren't able to tell from the audio cue nor the visual cue of all your hallucinations either being on the ground and then standing back up when they're ready. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but again, it just seems like unnecessary clutter to me. If anything, the only main important one that I kind of see out of all of them is our final one, which shows you your hallucination spawn time. Instead of just having to go off of the side of your screen of seeing the pink aura going into yellow and slowly building up over time, you actually get an actual bar to see, and it also keeps track of the charges that you have left of hallucinations to place on the map, which again, all in all, it's healthy for the game, it's good. I think, if anything, if they want to do these UI changes, just have the hallucination spawn one, and then just the regular shot cooldown one. My overall problem with this UI is that it feels too cluttered. It makes me feel like someone new looking at this is gonna see all these power icons and immediately get overwhelmed. Where the power is right now on live servers, I really don't feel like a player would really get that confused from what's going on, especially after 1 to 2 games of playing them. So the hey, you can left click now to shoot your shot, or hey, your clearly visible teleport cooldown is ready, just seems a little unnecessary to me. And lastly, we also had some sound updates, which I don't really have any issues with these. I mean, the only real main thing they changed with it is just a different sound for when you hinder somebody, and some clear visibilities to the survivor side of showing, hey, you're still a little bit slowed from the whole 2-second slow that it applies if you hit a direct hit. So in summary, the UI, the sound changes, I think they're all fine. I mean, again, there's little tweaks I think that could be made to the UI to make it a little less overwhelming, but I think it's going to be healthier for the character overall. As for the add-ons and the speed nerfs that, oh, they're just trying to not, you know, say are even nerfs in the first place, that's where a lot of my problems still lie. And just like in my last video, I beg and plead to behavior to please reconsider these changes, look at them again, adjust the values if you really have to. But it's been seemingly unanimous amongst the unknown community as well as just the DBD community as a whole. These changes just aren't necessary. These quality of life fixes, they're fine. We're here for it. We're listening to you. We think you're fine with that. But these nerfs, just ain't it, man. Please, behavior, do better. And for those watching, thank you for joining me as always. Check out the Twitch channel over at Honest Panda if you haven't already. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, night, whatever time it might be for you. And I will see you all in the next one. Take care, and have a good one.